I can pretty much do everything I've ever been able to do. I haven't really changed much since my 50s, as far as my strength, my physique.
One of the things I talk about a lot on here is something called a compounding health loop, where it's like you improve one system in your body. You improve blood flow, you improve cardiovascular fitness, and every system that feeds off of that in your body now elevates.
You know, I'm 80 years old. It's not how long you live, it's what your quality of life can be.
Right.
I'm very active. I'm still physically pretty strong. I'm very virile. I'm not bragging. I have sex on the average about 4 times a week.
I had a conversation with a patient of mine who was talking about trying to lose weight. He was telling me, I just need to find my motivation. I looked at him, I was like, it's not motivation. I wake up to go work out every morning and I'm not motivated to do it. Hey everyone, Derek Hines here. Welcome to the podcast where I'll share with you the patterns, insights, research, and technologies that we use in my own pain and performance practice to help people improve their health, speed their healing, and increase their longevity. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy it.
There you go.
All right, Ron Beckenfeld. Welcome to the Pain and Performance Podcast, my man.
You got it. Thank you, Derek.
I feel like you probably embody the name of this podcast in terms of dealing with pain and optimizing performance. But we were talking before we got rolling about kind of trying to stay healthy and some of the things that you have faced recently. Is that something that you want to kind of share the struggle that you're dealing with on that?
Well, I was on a fishing trip 500 miles out in the middle of the ocean, and I skipped a stair, and I guess I hyperextended or I tore my quadricep. I thought it would be like a month heal or 2 months, but very painful, and it just, you never know what's going to happen to you. But if you can keep your weight down, keep a little flexibility, it'll probably lessen the injury no matter how old you are.
Yeah,
and a physical therapist is critical.
Finding the right treatment. Look, there's times where what's going on. Like I remember I was at my hunting camp and I injured my shoulder and I was like, I know exactly what to do and I can't do it. I can't get this thing taken care of. I had to go back to my office and get some of the docs on staff to get me fixed up. I'm in South Louisiana and we are hard-headed, to put it lightly. When we have a problem, we're like, no, it's not bad enough yet. No, it's not bad enough yet. And then it's, a year later, we're like, okay, fine. I can't move now. Now I'll go and get care for it.
And everybody wants the surgery a lot with the surgery. And there's, especially with the shoulders. The major reason that people are active that get injuries, first of all, I'll use the word overtrained.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just too much, you're always inflammation. You're not, completely healing up and you go back at it again. It's not smart.
I've seen this a lot, Ron, where somebody, so you're 80, correct? You're 80
Right.
years old and you are in phenomenal shape. What's your kind of, do you know your body mass? Do you know your body fat? What's that?
I'm around 10% body fat. I still got abs at my age, but everything is basically what I talk a lot about is it's the way you take care of yourself. What you put in your mouth. You don't have to bust your back to get in shape or lose weight. Diets do not work, period. It's the way you eat. And if you eat fresh food, you pretty much can eat all you want. Pretty much. I eat 5 times a day, sometimes only 4.
Yeah.
But my calories aren't dense. I'm not eating. It's not too much packaged foods. Everything fresh. Everybody has the poo-poo with the red meat. I think it's a lot better than eating that plant-based stuff. It's just loaded with chemicals. It's the chemical burgers.
So I've seen this a lot where somebody gets injured and they let their fitness routine fall off. So I'm looking at you now. If y'all are just listening to this, come check out the video. But if somebody gets injured and they're letting that completely derail their fitness routine, obviously you haven't stopped working out during this time.
I was in a wheelchair. I was still training.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Is that because
you just got to work what it is? No matter what your injury, you can still work around it. Let's say you hurt your shoulders. Hey, if you can still do some cardio, treadmill, you are going to stay in reasonable shape so the bounce back is not as bad. Which people, they just can't do it. No, you got to do something. And you
Yeah.
don't need a ton of it, maybe 20 minutes. I mean, or a little bit more would be nice. And you got to, it's called work around your injuries. And I call it, don't be stupid and overdo it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a fine line. Like what so what was what's been your routine been? What's changed over the last you know,
I woke up, it took me to about,
year?
I was 55 years old to stop overtraining.
Was
I
that
mean,
from an injury?
that and I wasn't getting any results. And I was working 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day, and not even a lot of cardio. I was in the gym too long. You should, as far as weight training or resistance training, I think 40 minutes can pretty much knock out everything you want. Maybe legs a little harder, a little, and you need, I think, the resistance training to keep your bone mass is part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and keeping your protein up. Things have changed. Used to be a half a gram per body weight. Now it's a gram, and you got to listen to your body. The problem is most people don't listen. Not only that, they're not they're not in tune with their self. A great place to get in tune, believe it or not, is through YouTube. And if you have an injury, there'll be talented people, doctors, physical therapists, and some have a tiny bit slant, but most of them, all of them going in the same direction. A few different. Go on there and learn about it, and then seek some help.
For whenever I mean you're on the end where I think you were probably training a lot. Do you think there's more people doing that, or the more people under training as they age?
I I don't think they're training at all, and the ones that do it train a lot. Now, if you see a person in the gym all the time, I don't care what they're doing. If they're not getting in shape, they got the back end wrong, the eating.
Yeah.
It's won and lost it's at the dinner table. It really is. You don't need a ton of exercise. When you go in the gym and maybe for an hour, you're only burning about 400 calories. It's not
Right.
a lot. So you got to eat good food and keep your calorie reduction induction in line. I eat about 1,800 calories a day.
What do you
Not, I'm
track
consuming
anything
a
with that,
lot of
Ron?
food. A lot of food. For instance, this morning I had about 6 or 8 egg whites with some potato and some strawberries. Probably around, I ate around a little before 6. I'll eat around 9. I'll have a protein drink. I'll put some creatine and HMB in there, which we sell the HMB at Superior Source. I can mention that, can I?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then maybe even a couple hours later, I might have another protein. Then I'll have lunch. I ate sardines, tuna, all low calorie, in fact, very inexpensive. A lot of hummus, baba ganoush.
Yeah.
Uh, I try to eat a fresh salad every day. I do eat pastas, not the end of the world. You need carbs. These people have got a no carb diets, and that's all a bunch of bunk, man.
I think one of the things when it goes on diet is that we try and like put these big frames around how people eat, and we don't realize it's more about the quality that's in that. So like you can be a completely unhealthy vegan because the quality of those choices are terrible.
Well, I hate to mention the company. I'm not going to really. I mean, there's some of these things you advertising on TV. They give you a low calorie diet, not necessarily the best qualities, and there's a lot of chemicals in there, but you will lose weight.
Yeah.
It's still calories in and calories out. Then your body becomes efficient to burning. Once you get set up, it takes a while, and this is a lifestyle. I say if you can't give yourself 20 minutes a day to do something for yourself, you got a problem here, man. And
So
a lot of
what's
why injuries come, people are overweight too. It bears
yeah.
a lot on your joints, on your ankles, feet, everything.
One of the things that I've talked to a lot of guests on is like, when do we start paying attention to our function as we age? One of the statements that I have like written down
You want to hear a
next to my
great one?
computer. Let me share this one with you, and you can
Okay, and I'm gonna
piggyback
give you
on it.
mine. We're gonna have fun.
This is if you aspire to kick ass at 85, you can't be average at 50.
That sounds good, but I got a better one than that.
What you got?
You go buy a brand new car, right?
Hmm.
Whatever car. The car, Don't take care of it. Don't do the oil change. Don't do nothing. Wait till about 50,000 miles. You're going to start having trouble with this car. Probably. Same thing. I think the body, if you don't really get on it at about 40, start making those life changes, you're going to start breaking down one way or another. That's my analogy.
Yeah.
Then if you take really good care of yourself, you're an old car, but you're a good old car.
So as we age, we kind of go through this process where, a lot of people start to get weaker. A lot of people start to move less. A lot of people aren't using muscles enough. So the neuromuscular communication from the body to the muscle, from the nerves to the muscle starts to weaken. And the answer to all of that is to use our muscles more, right?
Correct.
Is to use them, to work them. Why do you think that's so hard for people? Why do we see so many 80-year-olds that are really struggling to walk and struggling to get up and down stairs and do the things that really you would
One of
hope
the
that they could
reasons
do?
they gave their health for their wealth. You got a family, the wife works, the kids, and living in America. I mean, when I grew up, I didn't have a cell phone. A lot of this stuff you're spending a lot of money on wasn't existing, and a lot of it really doesn't help your life. So you don't have the money. So if you're working all the time and trying to keep your head above water, you come home, you're exhausted, and that's the end of it, man. And
Yeah.
especially the women that really get the bad end of the stick. They're nurturers, givers, takers. They got to take care of the kids. They got to do all the dirty work. And the poor thing, they're already getting up at 6 or 5 in the morning and they don't have it, and they're exhausted. My thinking is, if you can get up at just 20 minutes earlier and give it to yourself, no matter what you want to do, I don't care what it is, just to get you moving and feel good about yourself, and get yourself on an eating plan, not a diet, eating proper food, and a lot of it, you'll just be fine.
Let's unpack this a little bit, Ron, because I think a lot of people listening to this are going to be like, "Look, I'm in my, um, we have two groups that listen to this. We have the 55 to 60-year-old who dealt with some problems, and then we have the 45-year-old practitioner who's a doctor who's in the middle of their career, right? They're really just getting things going. But let's start with the first group. If somebody's listening to this and they're 55, 60, and they're like, look, I haven't been in the best shape. I want to start to pay attention so that I feel great whenever I'm 80. I'm playing with the grandkids. I'm traveling. I'm doing those things. Let's start to build out what they would be doing. So you talked about the four legs of the table for
Well,
that,
we'll
but
leave out the
let's
one.
start to build them.
It's never too late to start. To be honest with you, in all the years I've been in physique contests, I was in best shape in my mid to late 50s, even through my 60s. And still now, I'm still good. The skin might give you get a little older, but it's never too late. And your body responds very, very quickly. Not only to make you feel good, but a lot of people don't mention what's very important. You need a good support system. Somebody's not going to beat you down, and look, you look great, honey. Keep it up. I'm behind you. They don't not dragging them off to some pizza joint, or an ice cream parlor. I mean, driving them nuts. But a good loving support system will go a long way to get you in the right, move you in the right direction. And you're going to lose weight. You're going to improve. You're going to get better. It's absolutely 100% guarantee. And how much you start to pick it up and put a little bit more on, the results will even come easier. Some harder, some easier for some people. It just varies. But you will, without a question, improve.
I'll tell you a crazy stat that I heard. We did a podcast on Tonal, the little wall fitness device, where people can kind of work out at home and it guides you through that. But that wasn't the crazy part. They did a study where they had their users over 55 who worked out with some form of consistency. So these people didn't start; they were beginners in
Resistance
training.
training you're talking about.
Correct, resistance training. Over 55, they increased their strength by 73%
Oh,
in
yeah.
a year.
I've seen that report.
And you're like, okay, that's This like, oh, it's too late, I can't start. You're like,
Never
our
too
body
late.
never stops to adapt to the activities that we're doing, whether you're 5 or 95, whatever activities you're doing, your body's going to try and adapt to that and make some changes. It might not adapt as fast as it used to, but it's going to adapt and make some changes.
I agree 100%. If you got a few bucks and you got some time, I would seek a professional. First of all, I went to the gym, I'd get a qualified trainer. Not forever. YouTube and a qualified trainer, and I go actually to a nutritionist. And if you don't quite understand it, they'll get you on the right path, all the foods you can eat and get you going. It's a little bit of an investment instead of stabbing at it. Try this diet, no carbohydrate, this diet and that diet. No, that's what I would do if you have the time and a little bit of money.
Let's dive a little bit deeper in that. So on the gym part, what would be if you're working with somebody, what would be the perfect week for them? How would that look? How are they kind of progressing through some of the exercises, and how would you separate that?
Well, first of all, if there was a trainer, I think you're going to kind of assess them. It's going to take a week or so, probably just to assess them. You don't want to beat them up so sore they don't want to come back. And for women, some gyms are intimidating,
Yeah.
but the women are good for the gyms. To assess you, maybe start working on the bigger core parts, a lot of stretching, and gradually easing into it. I mean, you didn't get that shape overnight, and it's not going to take you overnight to get back, but it will come real quick. If you're very consistent, and consistency is extremely important in everything in life, and discipline. The discipline just to get your foot out the door to go to the gym. The discipline to eat a good, let's call it a well-balanced, healthy meal, fresh food, that'll serve you well. And you're on your way, man.
Yeah. What's your favorite, for somebody over 55, what's your favorite exercises?
Besides assessing them, I just see if I can maybe just even before the weight training,
Hmm.
maybe see where their cardio's at. I'd make sure they even had a doctor's release, to be honest with you.
Yep.
A lot of people are, they're taking the statin drugs, or they have a little heart. Almost anybody over 50, 60 has got something going on. Just make sure you take that in the hand, and gradually start easing in. As long as maybe they'll give you 30, 40 minutes. You can maybe build out to an hour. Make sure the trainers aren't just sitting there with their cell phone while you're doing the treadmill. Make
What
sure.
would what would be the ratio that you're looking throughout a week of like strength training, cardio, stretching,
Do a
high
little thing.
intensity?
Well, if you start picking it up, you're starting more than 20 or 30 minutes. I was
Yeah.
just to get your butt off the couch, that type of thing. I don't think you need more than about 40 minutes of resistant training, and you can throw maybe 15 minutes of stretching in there on a regular basis. And the cardio is good, but if you're doing it to burn calories, you don't burn a lot of calories. They have a little thing in an hour. If you're humping away, you might burn 300 calories. If you're doing a slow walk, for me, I do a cardio, and I just like to watch it while I'm watching the news in the morning or something. It's just something I do, but
Yeah.
you just got to, you need a qualified trainer to give you a plan to gradually ease into it, and working basically your basic muscle groups, your chest, legs, and backs are all where all your power comes from.
Nice. What are you on a treadmill in the morning whenever you're doing that?
Right. I except for my Achilles, I can't, but I'm doing the bike.
Okay, nice.
But I
One
do a
of the
lot,
things,
a lot of stretching, and if you can hang from which will really help with your shoulders and everything, you'll probably agree. If you just hang from a high bar, I hold about a minute sometimes, but
yeah,
even less than that. Kind of get everything lined in. Another thing is real good, is very inexpensive for the home, is inversion table. I think they're pretty good.
yep,
All those little things are, you're talking a couple minutes here and there. You just
right.
got to give yourself the time. I mean, especially if you're 60 years old, I doubt you're even, or 65, I doubt you're working. So, I mean, instead of sitting around and doing whatever, go to the gym, and it becomes a lot of places are very positive, and if you go in, let's say 12 o'clock, you see the same person all the time. Maybe you're not going to go hang out with them,
Yeah,
but it's a friendly face that'll say hi, and you have that camaraderie for that time period you're in there.
yeah.
It's kind of a very cool deal if you get in a good environment.
Yes, very much so. And there's a little bit of like an accountability there. I have a buddy of mine. We don't work out together, but we're there at the same time.
Right.
And we're like, hey, how are you? How was the weekend? And if we don't see each other for a couple of days, the next time you're in the gym, you're like, "Hey, where you been, man? Did you take a trip?" And it's
Exactly.
like knowing that this is very passive accountability, right? Like this isn't somebody who's even texting or saying anything, but like I know if I'm not there a couple of days, he at least notices. And because somebody notices, I there's a few mornings where I would very well want to just roll over, and I'm like, that little extra discipline, that little extra push is like, all right, nope, let's go.
And I wouldn't be let the scale, I mean, after a while, I just look in the mirror.
Yeah.
My weight just varies a pound one way or another, but everybody can improve. And it's just not a Herculean effort like everybody, and you got to go in there, no pain, no gain. That's a bunch of BS.
Yeah. One of the things I talk about a lot on here is something called a compounding health loop, where it's like you improve one system in your body, you improve blood flow, you improve cardiovascular fitness, and every system that feeds off of that in your body now elevates. And so you didn't just improve your cardiovascular health, you improved your blood flow to your muscles and tissues, which means your structures are better.
Even
You
your
improved
brain.
your mental health. Yeah, everything ripples, and you get this massive compounding effect.
Yeah.
When we look at cardiovascular health, like one of the things I like to tell people is that if you just go from low to below average, like you barely improve this, start doing a 10-minute walk every day and work up to where your heart rate is pumping, and you try and go a little further. So like 10 minutes of your day, and you improve your cardiovascular fitness from low to below average, you reduce your risk for all causes of death by 50%. That one little thing.
Oh, yeah. Rome wasn't built in one day, what's the last straw on the camel's back, that type of thing. It's just, it's a lifestyle, and, you want to feel good, or you want to be chasing around at doctors when you're older. I mean, in America, you can do it. Everybody's got a chance, and you can do what you want to do. Just like me with my business, I started out of the trunk of my car. I've been in business almost 60 years. And you have to start somewhere. To be honest with you, I wasn't very good in school. I got set back 2 grades, but I was a good bullshit artist, and so I was able to take that on. So I started at the trunk of the car, and my business has grown. We're in a 100,000 square foot plant. I mean, we got about 100 employees. We put out some really, really unique products.
Yeah. So you were around in the early days of Gold Gym, right?
I was the first member there. I paid $34 a year. I was there before Arnold was there, before other people Louis Ferrigno, the Hulk, or other notary type bodybuilders, and I'm still friends. There's only 100 guys in the gym, and everybody was friends.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was no women at all.
How was the training back then? Like what did that look like?
Overtrained, uh, overtrained, and the diet, the eating, the diet. When I first started, they didn't even have the nutritional facts.
Yeah.
You buy stuff and it didn't break down the sugars and everything. So I mean, everything's come a long way, especially now. You can make cardboard taste good. I mean, you go to one of these Sprouts or these type of places, which we do business with, in fact. Uh, you can't go wrong, you know. Or a
Yeah.
Trader Joe's is like a godsend. I mean, the great foods they have, and we do business with them too. But
What made you step into, so you were training and you're there a lot. Obviously, there's a bunch of different avenues that you could take to kind of be in the health world. What was the inspiration to go into supplementation?
even when I was I mean, a real young boy, my parents would give me vitamins. I'm a first generation Hungarian, you know, and it just started that way. And I was, I did play some sports a little bit. I was only 103 pounds when I was in 11th grade. Oh three, not 30, oh 03. I was on the swim team. Here's more about me. I went out for the swim team. They put me on the team because they needed a spot. I was the last guy to qualify. At the end of the year, I was the fastest guy in the whole team. You just put your mind to stuff and maybe keep it in your wheelhouse, where even maybe a little above what you think you could be, you will reach that. But don't start off with a low attitude towards yourself. Everybody has a chance. Everybody can improve.
Yeah.
I don't care who they are. Some people have better genetics than other. It happens a little easier.
What uh We'll circle back to the supplement thing, but I feel like I want to ask this
I got
question.
to make some money here.
What
I'm just kidding.
what stops people? What do you see that stops people from achieving their goals like that?
Lack of discipline, 100%. Lack of discipline. I,
How do they build that,
well,
or how do they fix
I'll
it?
relate to women. You know, they've called this Title IX in California here. They gave up a lot of men's sports so women could play sports. And it gives you that camaraderie. It gives you that you get that you belong to a sport team, a club. You're all going in the same direction. You all have the same goals. I think discipline is the key to everything. You know, once you're like, I don't have to get up at 4 in the morning. I just do.
Yeah,
I want to take care of my business.
I
Everybody's a
had
little
a
different.
I had a conversation with a patient of mine who was talking about trying to lose weight. This was 2 days ago, and he was telling me he was like, I just need to find my motivation. And I looked at him. I was like, it's not motivation. There's no motivation. I was like, I wake up to go work out every morning, and I'm not motivated to do it.
You
In
love
fact, the opposite. I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I don't need to do it today. I'm not going this morning. And then I roll back over and I'm like, no, you have to go. This is part of who you are. And I'm like, that's the discipline that does it, not motivation. You're not going to be motivated for a long time. That motivation will wane,
you kind of
but
look at it.
discipline won't.
Something you got to do. I think you got to brush your teeth. You got to go to the bathroom. There's
Yeah,
certain things I think you just got to be put in the gotta do.
right.
And it doesn't have to be, I'm a little fanatical. It's probably so are you. And it doesn't make you a bad person. And just make that first step forward. And again, with a supportive family, you're not saying, oh, you never do it. What the hell you're wasting your time for? You don't want to hear that BS.
Yeah. Is there anything that like what's the thing that you don't want to do that you have discipline to maintain the consistency
I
with?
don't have anything like that. My motto is if it don't make you better looking or richer, I take a pass on it. Everybody's different. Hey, like everybody likes to look good and feel good, just like when you go out, especially the women, you go out, get some new clothes, and it makes you feel good. I can get this feeling every day by going to the gym, especially at my age. I mean, I get pictures that are all over me all the time, want to take pictures and this and that, because of my background.
Yeah, I think it's hard if somebody they have the drive. They're like, I want to be healthier. I just can't stay
Well,
consistent
knowledge
with
is a
it. How
good
do they
thing
build
too.
it?
Knowledge is a good thing too. Maybe they want to buy a certain type of clothes or certain type of things that'll maybe to reach that goal, but you don't want to drop off when you're there. You know, everybody can't be Mr. Perfect, but you sure can make a good attempt and make yourself feel good. And when you're feeling good, you're going to be good. Who wants to, again, want to chase around at doctors when you're older? That's all the hell you're going to do. And
Yeah.
they yanking and pulling on you, and you,
For so back to the supplement. So if you were taking stuff the whole time, that was just a natural part of like, well, I see a need
progression.
for this.
My business really got started. My dad is an immigrant, worked extremely hard. He worked 16 hours a day, 6 days a week to his 60 years old. He ended up with some illnesses. Uh, he had a heart condition. They gave him these little nitroglycerin tablets, which are life-saving.
Yeah.
And he said, why can't you make something like this, son? I was already in the business about 20 years. And he had a hard time swallowing tablets. He picked up Parkinson's disease to go along with it. That's another story. And I did my research and I found this equipment can do it. And I'm the only one in America on this equipment that makes vitamins. It's called a microlingual. We pull full potencies in these tablets. Where you have to be careful when you're buying supplements is look at other ingredients in actives. A lot of times they're more than the actives. And especially in the tablets, they have to use a lot of chemicals to make it work. Not so much with the two-piece capsules. They can get a clean capsule out of that. You can use in brown rice or so on and so forth. And that's how I started with, we just use a tiny bit of lactose. We have to use it in the manufacturing to make it flow. and maybe a little stevia or a natural flavoring. That's it. And then they're all very, very small, if I may show you. You could probably put 10 of these on a dime.
Yeah. And
That's
what's that, Ron?
that's a
What are we looking
B12
at
with
there?
folic acid. I take this myself, B6, B12 folic acid. We have about 100 products we manufacture in-house. And everything's reasonably priced. I mean, where most of our stuff is around $10, $12 at retail.
Nice. What would be your favorite supplements if somebody's trying to maintain strength as they age?
Strength and body weight, I would say a protein drink. And if you're vegan, no problem. The pea proteins, even though they got the alcohol, sugar, it's not the best in the world, but a whey protein, if you can tolerate it. What they do, you get very little calories and a good shot of protein, which you need to maintain muscle as you older. 120, 100. We put out another product right here. It's called Keto Collagen. 80 calories a serving, 10 grams of collagen. It's a great product. I mix it with coffee before I work out. I don't take too much stimulant, only coffee before I train. That's it. But back to these products, you can get them online anywhere.
Yeah.
Amazon, Walmart, health food stores, vitamin shop, Sprouts, Whole Foods, you name it.
So collagen, um, uh, what about like creatine? What's your thoughts there?
Creatine is probably the most steady product it's ever been. We have a creatine, but we put HMB in it, which I don't know if you know what HMB is.
I do. Let's explain that to the listeners, though.
It's calcium hydromethyl butrate monotrate. What it does is help keep the fat off you. We came out with this product, 5 grams of creatine, which is a normal go on it, and 3 grams of HMB. I take it personally. I mix
Yeah.
it in my drink. You want to hang on to your bone mass. Collagen and protein are your key, along with resistant training. I can look at somebody and tell you've been losing bone mass. So can you. I know you can. If I can,
Yeah.
you. And you want to hang on to your bone mass, and you want to hang on to your muscle. You need it all as you get older.
For the people who are having trouble with kind of the like weekly schedule, if you will, what would your perfect health week look like
You
for
have no
somebody like
problem
that?
on a weekly schedule eating every day, do you? You kind of look at it. This is part of what I do.
Yeah.
Eat, I sleep, I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth. I'm going to take care of myself. If you don't want to go to a gym, just some bands that do wonderfully. Hey, they got great instruction. You go to YouTube, you get a heck of a workout with a little stretching, a little cardio, and you'll be in great shape. They just eat good, fresh food, protein based, chicken, fish, uh, egg whites, whey powder. I like myself, or the pea proteins are just excellent. And you're on a solid diet, and you can have your glass of wine every day. It's no big deal. You don't have to choke it off completely, and you want to have it. Once you get going, you get revved up right. You can have a cheat day of whatever the heck you want to eat.
Yeah.
You can't, but you can't, as long as you get 90% of it right. We're going back to the 80-20, 90% of it right. You got room with the 10% to play, and you don't have to be deprived. Doesn't mean you can't. That's ridiculous.
Ron, how do you at all think about kind of like quality of life now versus longevity? Do you think about longevity at all?
I think about dying every day. What are you, crazy? Of course. As you get, I didn't really start thinking about that till I took this fall.
Hmm.
When I tore my quadricep, and my whole life changed. I'm finally, after a lot of therapy and a lot of work, I mean, a lot of work in this thing, probably 90%, and I'm still not back.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you run out of shelf life, man. I'm 80 years old. How much longer? It's not how long you live, it's what your quality of life can be. I'm
Right.
very active. I'm still physically pretty strong. Uh, and I'm very virile. I'm not bragging. I have sex on the average about 4 times a week still.
How important are those things versus the longevity?
Well, I mean, for me, the sex is a big deal for me, to be honest with you. Even an old dude like me, I mean, I'm very enjoyable. That's a big part for me. And just taking care of myself. No, I can pretty much do everything I've ever been able to do. I haven't really changed much since my 50s, as far as my strength, my physique. And as you get older, your skin gets a little thinner. If you have some muscle, you'll look very vascular, very muscular. As long as you don't get too lean. You're better off with a little extra weight, but you ever notice older people, they got the veins and everything all over them, and they got really no muscle or nothing,
Yeah,
vascular.
right.
And that's what happens with age and your body. You can improve at every age,
Yeah.
especially your strength. You can really hang on to your strength in a reasonable way.
Yeah, when you look at some of the studies around strength, and it's like, people decline, that depends on the study, but let's say 2 to 3% a year, and then that can accelerate between 60 and 80. Now, a lot of that's done in untrained individuals, right, where they're not training, and it shows you, like, if you're not training, it's quite easy for you to drop 10% of your strength
Oh, yeah.
between 60 and 70 or 70 and 80. Like you would see that a lot. So maintaining the strength and training is the part that we just can't live without.
You don't have to do it every day. I mean, you want to talk strength, maybe 3 days a week will get you by pretty good. And, especially with your core muscles, I think your major muscle groups, your chest, back, and legs.
Yeah.
The other muscles are more show muscles, the arms and the shoulders. But just consistency, and it's you got to put it like in your car. Put that car in the garage for 50 years and take it out, and see how it's going to be running. You don't start it up. It's the same thing. You rest, you rust.
You rest, you rust. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, if for falls, a lot of people who fall, if you look at like the survival rate
Oh
over
yeah.
over 65, there's a very high percentage of people who are not around 2 years after a major
That's
fall.
pretty much the going rate there. Yeah. A lot of that
So
has
I
to do
think
too what their shape was going in too, and their mental attitude
yeah,
afterwards.
I think for
This thing was
you,
very, very mentally devastating for me, man. I mean, I was trained. I was in a wheelchair still, and I'm a year and I'm still limping around.
yeah, I think for you, there's very few people that would still be training with that I know. If it wasn't just ingrained in them, I think it'd be, look, I need help. I need somebody around the house doing it. And that would just accelerate the mental load that you're having to carry with it. And then, how easy is it for you to just kind of let that drop? All right, well,
No
this is
choice.
what it is.
Well, I'm vain to start with. I'm not going to deny it. There's not a mirror I don't like to walk by and look at. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't make me a bad guy, but just that maybe my vainness, my motivate. Don't forget, I had 60 some years pretty much somewhat injury free. I mean, devastating injuries. I've had the aches and pains and
Yeah.
overtraining and inflammation, which, comes with it. Not enough rest. You just got to do your best and fight on, man. I mean, you just got to keep marching on. That's all to it, man. You got to
What
keep.
else? What else do you do for mental health? We've talked about eating whole foods, and we've talked about continuing to train, kind of keep stretching, maintain your mobility. Start slow with it if you can get a good trainer, and let them guide you through some of that stuff. Do it, but as we go through this kind of trying to stay healthy throughout our life to optimize health span, how long are we healthy? What do you do for the mental health aspect of it, Ron?
It's all tied together. If you're feeling like crap, you ain't gonna, look. If you don't feel good, you're not gonna look good. You're not gonna feel good. Unless you're so used to being beat up. That's just the way it goes, and you accept it. No, that I don't think that works.
Yeah.
And a lot again with your supporting system, you got a loving supporting support system. It's encouraging you, it wants you to do the right thing, and not, yeah, they give up on you, and you give up on everybody gives up. That's very important.
Yeah, that's
They don't talk about that, but I think it's important.
I asked somebody what was the number one reason that they found people did not lose weight, and it was their spouse. I was not expecting that.
Well, they don't get with it. The spouse should. Chances are the spouse is about the same shape, give or take. They got to. They should. If they're the ones preparing the meals, and don't prepare a bunch of crap. I mean, it costs you the same to make fresh food, just about, and go that extra distance, and now everybody's on board.
Yeah.
And if the other one is, making, just your stuff and she's eating it, all the not so good food in front of you, it's tough. It's especially late at night after you're done, when you're full, where you don't know if you have a sugar craving or a fat craving. And the way you find out, have a handful of good nuts. Maybe you can go to Trader Joe's or something and get them like that.
Yeah.
It's
That
all time. It's all linked together. Not everybody can be gorgeous and beautiful, but you sure can you know, be happy, at least get your weight down and go out and buy some new clothes. Motivate you, for the women, go out and
yeah.
buy some brand new clothes. Give the bill to the husband.
So you find like your strength training and your fitness routine is the mental health part.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? It's 100% tied together. Everything's tied together the way you feel. If you
Yeah.
don't, if you don't feel good, you're not going to be able to want to mentally feel good physically. You're not going to want to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard for somebody to get you on the wrong path or beat you down, or let's go out and have some beers and chicken wings, one of those type of things.
It's
And
a
I've never had
slippery
that.
slope, right? Once you start kind of having things miss, like what do you do if you fall off the wagon?
I don't
Like
fall off the wagon.
don't do it. What
I
do you
have
tell somebody who falls off the wagon?
Get rid of the friends that are doing that to you. I don't know. It's just something you got to make up your mind to do. And you got a family, you want to be around, you want to see your kids, you want to do things with your kids. You know, fit into certain clothes. You can have some motivation there. I mean, that doesn't motivate me, but for some people, I can understand. They want to. And I still wear this. I still got a 30-inch waist, same as I've had forever.
Yeah. And that's all consistency. Just stay consistent with.
Consistency and discipline. Everything's in life is consistency. If you want to
Yeah.
make money, you got to be consistent in doing so. You got to show up to work every day.
Right.
It's very important to discipline. That's why I believe, a little off the subject, these young kids can't make up their own mind what to do. I think I suggest they go in the military, in the reserves for 6 months. They'll figure it out real quick.
Yeah, discipline to me is the unlock that like perseverance. Whenever you have adversity, I think if you build one muscle, that's the muscle to build, and that unlocks everything.
I think you have to be disciplined to be successful, period, in anything. I don't care. I mean, I'm a good friend of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He says you can't get nothing done if you get up after 5 in the morning. That's it. It's pretty much. It's not bad.
Yeah.
So
What's
I do one better. I get up at 4.
There you go. I think it was Jocko Willink who calls the snooze the dream killer. He's like, if you hit the snooze, you're hitting a dream
Oh, on the
killer. Whatever
clock.
dreams you have, you're not gonna achieve them if you snooze.
And you snooze, you lose. Just got to take care of yourself, and it doesn't have to be like I think you and me are a little up fanatical side, but that's
Right.
a lifestyle we choose. I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I don't have to do none of this. I'll live about the same. Am I going to be physical? Am I going to be able to do a lot of things I do physically? I won't be able to do them. You got
What
to choose yourself.
I had probably one of the best experiences that was a learning education. So I practiced in Denver for a while, and everyone was healthy. Everyone skied, everyone exercised. I had multiple 90-year-old patients who came to me with sports injuries because they like injured themselves being active. And then I went from that to South Alabama, where if you're from South Alabama listening to this, sorry, but almost everyone was unhealthy. And you're right. Many of them lived within 10% of each other. Like it was rarer to live into your 90s in Alabama, but they still lived 80 years old. They lived the average age. But the last decade of their lives was dramatically different, like
Right.
night and day
Oh
of
yeah.
what that is.
Um,
Um,
oh, you're absolutely right. Another tip is to people that ski and those type of sports, you remember if you're weight training or strength training, you're constantly contracting. these sports will put you out of your range of motion. I've seen more, and I'm talking fit dudes and fit women, but they hadn't skied in, let's say, 10 years, but they're in great shape. I mean, boom, there goes the knee. There are the tears. Where they're not opened up enough. That's where you come in, or they're not flexible enough, but they're in great shape.
Yeah.
You know, their cardio, their heart, everything. They look like $1 million, but they start doing. They haven't stretched and got opened up, and they get out of that range of motion. There go the injuries for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What challenges have you faced, whether that be business, health? We've talked about the recent tear, but throughout this, what's some of the major kind of challenges or setbacks that you've had, even if that's in business, and what was your mindset to come through some of those
You
things?
got life is you got to learn how to pivot. I use the word pivot.
Okay.
You know, I've reinvented this company more than two or three times. Where I started off very heavily in the convenience store business. I had a great business. Stuff was selling at the stores for 99 cents. Here comes this uh, an energy product, you know, the liquid, and it was a 2.99 sale. Now the convenience stores weren't selling anything. Their whole sale was $2.50. 5 hour entry.
Yeah.
This guy, he put me out of business. But if I wouldn't have pivoted, about the time I started to pivot is when I came up with a microlingual. Otherwise, I've been long gone.
What was the
Misread the market.
yeah.
Misread the market.
What were you thinking during that time? Was this survival? Was it like,
Well, I don't,
we've
you know,
got,
I already been in business for a while. I don't want to go out of business, man. It's
yeah,
embarrassing. You know,
yeah,
put a bullet in my head if I ever went out of business. No, you got to be on the ball, and life's a pivot. Hey, you hit 50 and you're 50 pounds over. You got to pivot, brother. You got to make the pivot sooner or later. Are you going to learn the hard way? And nothing's worse than learning the hard way. Or I told you so bullshit.
yeah.
You just got to, that's how life is. Life is a pivot, man. You get married. Okay, that's another pivot. You're single. Now you're having kids. Another pivot. Now you're 50 years old. You've been working your butt off to do good for your family. You're going to have to pivot for yourself. I call it a pivot.
When you were going through that, what was the steps? Did you bring in an outside source to kind of talk through that with you?
No, I figured it out on my own real quick. Sales drop. They're beating my brains out. I better make a move here.
Yeah.
I better make.
How did you end up on the microlinguals?
With my dad, and we're going to get back to
Is
that,
that
where
yeah,
he couldn't swallow tablets. He had a heart problem. And I probably was the first company to ever come out with what's called the clean vitamin. We're very nichey at what we do. A lot of products through our manufacturing process we can't make, so I got to limit myself there. And another big pivot's been for us, we were strictly at one time, I mean, really, really doing well in the retail stores, and then here comes Amazon, giving everybody a fit. Now I'm pivoting there where I can get these retailers that can sell at Amazon's prices and make a good profit. And being a
yeah,
manufacturer, we're giving up profit to do this, but I think it's the right move.
yeah? Y'all have a great collection, whether it's vitamin D, which I think
Melatonin, B12, many of the letter items, I call them the old soldiers, they do well. Every store carries them. We have some powders. We have a nice beetroot powder with apple cider vinegar. I take myself personally. I think it's a great product. If
what
you
do you
take,
take? What's that? What's the big benefit from that, Ron?
well, first of all, the apple cider vinegar will keep your pH balance. And then the beetroot powder is good for the heart and circulation. It's,
Nice.
it's reasonably priced. We manufacture it in here. You see the stuff advertised on TV for 50, $60, I think for 20 some odd dollars.
What's your other favorite like unexpected supplement?
I still think if you're in the bodybuilding world or trying to get a little muscle, the creatine and the HMB is the way to go, or just straight creatine. The protein powder is, without a question, for me, is the greatest thing that ever happened. That's the greatest thing that's ever happened because when I first started with the protein, the stuff was horrendous. It had cyclamated, which is banned now as a sweetener. It's way before you were even born. Uh, and they're palatable. And they got a million flavors. and you get low calories, you get your protein up, and they're very, for me, extremely filling. I put a scoop or
Yeah.
two and with water, and that does it with me.
What would you tell the person who says like I want to be fit like Ron. I want to be 80 and feeling alive and feeling great. What should they not be doing?
Not be eating crap junk. Start with the eating first.
Okay.
That's you can teach a monkey to lift weights, and even if they do it all wrong, they're going to get benefits. Hope they don't get injured.
Yeah.
It's at that dinner table where you make and break, and you do need rest. Like me at my age now, I mean, I am taking a little nap, and I maybe sleep about 6 or 7 hours, and I get about 8 hours altogether.
Nice.
And everything else in moderation. You want your little booze, or you want to smoke some pot or whatever. Yeah, it's all in moderation. They're going to kill you.
What are you still trying to figure out right now, Ron?
How do I
What
live to
what
100?
how do you live to 100? How do
I
you
just
live to
I
100?
just want to
What's
have a
your
good
thoughts?
quality life. Uh, just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm basically very happy. Nobody's 100% happy, but I'm pretty darn happy. And being healthy is part of it. Nothing
Very.
worse than going to the doctor and you're waiting for the blood test, and got prostate problems or this or that, or I mean,
Have you heard of back casting?
back.
Back casting. It's like so forecasting is like you forecast forward, right?
Oh,
Back casting is where you look backwards and you if you succeeded in a goal, so let's say living to 100 right now. If I succeeded to live to 100, what did I do along the way that allowed me to succeed? And that gives people, we tell them like write down what you see, write down what you visualize. I kept working out, I kept eating healthy, all that. But then we flip it over and we say, you did not succeed. You failed to do that. Why? Well, A, I died. All right, why? I had these issues. What could you do to prevent those issues?
the
And
most
that
thing,
gives them like the how do you protect your downside, if you
the
will?
back casting comes with knowledge. If I would have known, I wouldn't have done. If I would have known what I would have done, I overtrained without a question. Gave me a lot of injuries that are never going to go away.
Right.
And for anybody you get this could become very addictive, and you got to use an analogy like I got a headache. I can take 2 aspirins and make it go away. Do I need 10 to make it go away? No. I think if somebody's really it becomes very addictive into the fitness, not to overtrain. Critical, critical, critical.
Yeah.
Everything's on the rest and the feed.
Mhm.
That means you might not get so much business, but they'll be doing all right.
Hey, look, we say that all the time. If we can help you stay healthy, so you don't end up back in our office, and we heal something permanently, I'm still a happy camper.
Yeah.
I
Well, you're
would,
all about making people feeling good. I have friends. I have physical therapist friends, and they're all pretty much in line with that. It's not all about the money. Everybody, like I said over and over, everybody can improve tremendously. Whatever you put into life, what you'll get out of it. If you don't put much energy, you don't expect much out of it, man.
that's a fantastic.
Whatever
Uh,
you put in, I mean, if you don't put in, you can't, put in no effort, hardly any effort, and end up with being a god. I mean,
yeah,
looking
yeah,
like.
right,
So I mean, and unfortunately, I see some people that the genetics will come in. I see
of
some.
course,
I'll take if you watch the Olympics, some of these sprinters, some of them almost 200 pounds, muscular and everything. Everybody goes in the gym and gets on it, gains. I mean, muscle wise, 30, 40, 50 pounds. All of a sudden, they're entering physique contests. I know guys that training for 30 years and never can't get into a physique contest.
yeah,
So sometimes it's the cards you're dealt with, but you still can look wonderful in clothes, feel good, and feel proud about yourself. And it's a great accomplishment. There's no negativity when you put in yourself, man. There's no loser here.
right.
I remember one day I was in the gym and I seen he's tapping on this bar with a 45-pound plates. And I said, "What are you doing, Arnold?" He says, "These are my friends. They don't talk back." There's
What
a lot, it's very good.
what did you get from being around those guys? I mean, some of those guys were just titans over the following years after y'all met. What is there any
Well,
kind of lessons you took away from being
here, I
around
tell
that
you in
group?
my position, I was at Gold's Gym with all the best bodybuilders of that era, and I never accomplished that type of body. They took some steroids then, but nothing what they're doing now. And I trained just as hard as any of them for decades, and I just couldn't achieve it, man. But within my framework of what I got going, I was able to do it
Yeah,
and get reasonable, you know.
yeah.
So how would you like to be in there, you know, for instance, what the hell am I doing wrong? And I'm busting, I'm coming out I'm soaking wet right through my shoes, you know, training so hard. But,
Um,
and I finally figured out at about 30 years old, this is just not going to happen. Why don't I just look good? Why don't I do the best I can, enjoy it, and just keep balance my life out? Because you can lose your life into that bodybuilding world very easily. It just
I mean,
consumed the hell out of you, man.
yeah, we've there's some wonderful documentaries out there on it, but we've definitely seen that over and over again where it just kind of takes over
Now I get
everything.
a lot of respect because of my age, and a lot of the guys who are tops of their year, I'm better than all of them now.
Yeah, Ron, you're definitely an inspiration. You've given me a lot of motivation to see. Like, I think one of the things we all want to see is that it's possible, right? It's possible to
Absolutely.
keep doing it.
Everybody will improve, and I mean, some might be dramatic, especially when you're fat coming down. You can, you know, because you already got something to work with. I was just a skinny bag of bones, you know. But no, everybody can improve. Everybody can, without a question. Maybe you're not going to be a Herculean god looking like, but you can have, by today's standards, you could be tremendous. I mean, people are snapping their heads and looking you know, meet you. What the hell happened? I haven't seen you, Derek. I haven't seen you in a year. What the hell did you do? You know?
And you don't want that to be the opposite way, where you look at them
No,
and they've put on the 20 pounds or whatever that
there's
might
no,
be.
you know, I mean, everybody has choices in America. You have choices. Everybody has choices.
Yeah.
You know, there's a million restaurants. You got a choice of everything. You got to make the right choice and a little discipline. And like I say, you don't have to donate your whole life or be nutsy about it. You can just be moderate, and everything will fall in line.
Ron, where can people find out more information about Superior Source? Where can they find any of your thoughts and ideas? Where can they follow you? Do you do the online thing? Are you on social media? Any of that stuff?
Well, with the podcast, like you, I do a couple a week, and I really love doing them. You're the backbone of the health, and you know, after they don't listen to me, they're going to end up with you. And if they don't listen to you, they're going to end up underneath the knife. So I mean, you got choices here. I'd rather be on the preventive side and take care of yourself and enjoy your life, and you don't have to play your favorite sports. I would stay away. People don't want to hear stuff like torquing sports like golf. I know tennis with the knees. And if you're going to play these sports, be observant what it takes to be in that shape to play them. Not necessarily hard, but I mean, your knees and your joints, your shoulders, your hips, you know, everything that really gets messed up. Back to me, you can Amazon anywhere online, pretty much any retailers. You can go to cvcforhealth.com if you want to buy direct from us. But we have some amazing, amazing products, and people love her. And
Yeah,
we need people like you. You're just, this is what put the word out.
y'all are putting a great thing together for people that is a good product, and like we were talking about, there's it's not always the case in the kind of nutrition supplement nutraceutical world. There's a lot of nefarious characters in that. So thank you for being one of the good guys
Well, one
on that
thing I'll
front.
tell you, if they have a third party, or they're a manufacturer, you know, you're pretty much a little bit more protected. I believe 99% of the industry is in real good shape. I mean, it just, stuff can just happen. It could happen to any company. We have a drug license and everything. We get audited once or twice a year to see that everything's right, going right. We pay to get beat up, but that's okay. We put out nothing but the best product. Whatever's in that bottle is there, and we're clean, and we don't have all the heavy excipients and binders and fillers you'll find in tablets. Our people can't swallow tablets. These things are. Micro.
Very easy. Ron, we ask all our guests if somebody's listening to this and they can do one thing today to improve their health, what would that one thing be?
If you get the discipline, you'll be able to do that. Discipline's the key to everything in life. Everything in life. Even in football, you got to, I mean, every sport, there's a discipline there. You got to show up to practice at least, you know.
Got to show up.
Yeah. Just a discipline and give yourself a break. Especially when you're older, I mean, give yourself 20 or 30 minutes. Even if you get up at 5, get up at 4:30, you can, half hour, you're going to bust your back and give yourself that time to you, whether you want to meditate. I prefer to see a little band training, a little cardio, and eating what I call good, wholesome, fresh foods. You got it made, man. You will get 100% in results, and they'll come quick.
That is fantastic. Listen to him, folks. He's Ron Beckenfeld. You're an inspiration to everybody, Ron. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for dropping some wisdom about how we can get to 80, feel fantastic, and
My
hey,
pleasure. My pleasure.
have a great company and still be showing up to work and helping
I'm at
people get
work right
healthier.
now. This is what I'm talking in my office.
Thanks a lot,
I
Ron.
have to work. I'm still working. I don't have to work. I could have retired 25 years ago. Easy.
Fantastic. Well, good luck. And everybody will have all of the links to all of Ron's information and to his favorite supplements in the show notes so y'all can check that out. And we'll see y'all next week.
Make sure when you need some physical therapy, if it isn't with Derek, get proper. Don't let injuries go on. If you can't get rid of them through maybe a little stretching or a little massage, get over to him immediately, if not sooner.
Love it. Thanks a lot, Ron.
Okay. Are we going to talk anymore? Are we off?